Undisputed, unrealistic, unscripted, and unrehearsed. This is Finish Line, a weekly podcast talking about the positive and negative of motorsports, asking the questions to drivers, promoters, and personalities, getting the information and responses of the sport others dare not to ask or even discuss. This is Finish Line. This radio podcast is from the heart, an in-depth analysis of everything in NASCAR, NHRA, IHRA, IndyCar, grassroots motorsports, asphalt, dirt, drag racing, karting, tractor pulling, boat racing, demolition derbies, and much more. From touring events to national, regional, weekly, and more. This is the podcast where the bull stops here. Whether it's asphalt, dirt, or drag racing, or anything else in life, there is always a finish line. Now, he's a respected veteran broadcaster with over 20-plus years' experience calling all forms of sports for public address, TV, and radio, from NASCAR to the grassroots. Please welcome your host, Wesley Outland. This is Finish Line.
And a good morning to you all tuning in, checking us out on Fox Sports Radio, Community Radio Network, iHeartRadio, Tuned In Radio, iTunes, and of course also on my social media page via Facebook Videocast. Good morning to you. Welcome to the March 20th edition of Finish Line. And it is officially the first day of spring as well. So I know a lot of people are excited and happy, ready to get rid of this nasty, miserable, aggravating cold weather. I know I am. I'm sick of it. I'll try to fix the camera here so you can be able to see me a little bit better. Good morning to you. Hope you're all doing well on this Wednesday morning. Hard to believe that it's already Wednesday. This week just seems like it's flew by. Got a couple of more days off and then leave back out on Friday. For those people that were asking me, I will be at Martinsville Speedway, going to be there for the NASCAR events this weekend. I will be there, and then of course I will be at the Dillon Motor Speedway for events on for Saturday afternoon. From there on, I will make the trip to Lakeview Motor Speedway, or going to try to make the trip to Lakeview Motor Speedway in South Carolina. Going to stop in and see Scott Tripp and my good friend Alan Dietz and everybody over there. And then, of course, on Sunday, I will be at the Cherokee Speedway in Gaffney, South Carolina for MAV TV for the rescheduled race that is March Madness, the event for the Southern All-Stars Super Late Model Series. Of course, I will be working with Bob Dillner for the MAV TV broadcast of that, for MAV TV television, coming up later on in the year. So, welcome to our program. It is Finish Line. Well, we're going to talk about all sorts of topics, as we always do, weekly in the world of motorsports, but the main topic on focus today is Kyle Busch and the history that was made on Sunday at Auto Club Speedway in the Auto Club 400, winning his 200th NASCAR touring win. Now, if you count the wins for Kyle Busch, it's like 90 plus in the Xfinity Series. He's the all-time winner in the Truck Series. You also have 53 wins now to his credit in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. So we will talk about that. We're going to talk about Martinsville Speedway coming up this weekend, the STP 500. Of course, the Truck Series race is going to be at Martinsville Speedway, the Half Mile of Mayhem. We'll talk about that. Of course, looking forward to talking with my great friend and colleague, somebody when I first ever started working in radio when I was a teenager, Mike Ray. And he'll be our final guest segment. We've got a great program for you here this morning. But mainly the focus, again, is on Kyle Busch. Should it be as hyped up as it is, or does he still got a long road to hoe? I want to hear my colleagues' thoughts on it, and I've got a great panel of guests on the board today. And then I will give my thoughts, my 2 cents on the whole subject as well throughout the morning. Finish Line is presented by All About Wraps. Thank you to Jason Pockr and all the great folks at All About Wraps. They do a fantastic job on wrap jobs for your race car, your modified, your personal vehicle. You can get one done at under $500. Go to allaboutwraps.net and they will take care of you. That's again allaboutwraps.net, our official sponsor of Finish Line. Just got that kicked off here back in February, just when we were about to close up Speed Weeks, and jumped on board as a title sponsor, and the relationship has been absolutely phenomenal. I appreciate them. Not only already know them from the racing industry already, but now to have them on board as a sponsor for our program is just absolutely phenomenal. So again, thank you to Jason Pockr, All About Wraps, allaboutwraps.net. So we are getting ready to go to the phone lines here, and I am going to get on my first guest, and that is going to be Eddie Massey. And Eddie Massey kind of got this whole thing jump started for me. We talked about it. Me and Eddie Massey are good friends in the racing industry, but Eddie Massey kind of got. He called me yesterday out of the blue, yesterday afternoon. I had so much going on. I was so busy, but I actually answered the phone. If you can call me and I answer, it's a miracle because I'm normally swamped with a bunch of things going on. But I answered the phone, and what turned into being like, hey, let me chat to you about something real quickly, turned into like an hour conversation via the phone line. So I just simply said, hey, why don't we just bring you on Finish Line and we'll hash it out and we can talk about all the great things in motorsports. You can talk about your debates with Kyle Busch. You can talk about your debates with dirt racing and so much more. So we are getting ready to go to the phone lines now, and we're getting ready to get on our first guest of the morning. Coming up at 11:30 will be Bob Pockr of NASCAR on Fox. Bob Pockr will be joining me for NASCAR on Fox at 11:30. We'll chat with him about the whole Kyle Busch and the first thoughts of the 2019 racing season for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, our thoughts on the new package, and of where their grade is so far. But right now to the phone lines we go. Our first guest on Finish Line is my good racing friend, truck driver, man that makes sure the lights are on for you, especially when the hurricanes and the storms hit. And just good to call him a good friend, Eddie Massey. Eddie, welcome to Finish Line, buddy.
Hey, man, how's it going?
I'm doing well. So, listen, I kind of gave you a nice introduction. I told them that you called me yesterday, and we kind of had a debate over the phone over who's the best, who's not the best in dirt racing, in NASCAR. This is your chance on Finish Line on a national forum to speak your mind. What do you think, buddy?
Well, I mean, it's like we said yesterday. I mean, you know, Kyle Busch had an amazing run, and it was an amazing feat when he won his 200th race yesterday or last week. But looking at that, Wesley, you know yourself, 75% of his races were run or won in the Xfinity and the Truck Series. And, you know, he was chasing a number that nobody ever chased. I mean, he won all these races, but yet, you know, how can you compare him to a Jimmy Johnson, a Jeff Gordon, when they got 80, 90 wins in the Cup Series, and they never even tried to run the Truck Series? I mean, imagine if Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon just kept, you know, if they run the Truck Series and if they run the Xfinity Series almost every week like Kyle does, well, you know yourself, as good as they are, man, they might have 300 or 400 wins.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not doubting your what you're saying, but I think it's unreal. I think it's unrealistic. I don't see how it's possible to walk away with 300 wins. Here's my topic of the whole Richard Petty, and I'm going to go ahead and hash it out right now with you being the first guest. Here is my thoughts on the subject, and we talked about this on the phone yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So Richard Petty, not knocking him whatsoever on the accomplishments he's got of 200 wins at NASCAR. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. That's something that nobody will never be able to take away. However, with that said, though, Eddie Massey, when he won those 200 NASCAR Cup Series wins, or NASCAR wins per se, it was during a different time frame of what we are racing today. The cars were different. The competition was different. The tracks, the schedules, everything was different. You know, me and you even discussed this. There was when Petty won these 200 races, there were times where Petty would go to Asheville, run a NASCAR event, take the checkered flag, win. That would be an afternoon event. Then he would drive all the way to Greenville Pickens, run a NASCAR event, win. He would turn around and go to Occoneechee Speedway or Metrolina Speedway. You could run 8 to 10 races in a week if you were lucky, and then I get rained out because, yeah, believe it or not, rainouts were around back then too. But he would win, though, Eddie. And again, in today's competition of NASCAR, you have a weekend schedule. You have the trucks, you have the Cup, you have the Xfinity, and you're not racing 7, 8, 10 times a week if you choose to. And that's what that is pretty much what my soapbox is about, Eddie, because it's like, you know, you had multiple chances numerous times during the week for winning. And we're not even going to get back into the debate over what David Pearson and us was talked about last week as well.
I mean, I definitely understand what you're saying. I mean, and I definitely agree with you. Kyle Busch is one of the best wheelmen to ever sit in the seat of a race car.
Oh, absolutely.
But when you're but when you're comparing him to Richard Petty, who is, you know, absolutely the king. He's called the king for a reason. And you look at him, and then, like you say, or like we talked the other day, compare him. You know, you can't compare him to David Pearson because all his wins were on super speedways.
Exactly.
You know, but, you know, does Kyle have a chance to chase down David Pearson? Yeah, if he keeps winning like he does, if he hangs around long enough. But
you know what? I'm not saying that there might not be a chance that Kyle Busch can run down 200 wins in the Cup Series for Petty. Yeah, because he's
never.
I don't know.
Never.
You know, how old is he?
Never.
How old is he?
He's not. He's old enough. He's in his 30s.
He's in his 30s. Okay. So, like, you know,
that would be 20 wins a year for the next 10 years.
I mean, I don't mean to say this in any type of controversial argument, Eddie Massey, but man, damn, Kyle Busch is one heck of a race car driver, and he can win. I mean, who would have thought that he was going to get his 200th win right out of the gate after he got his 199th the weekend before? Like, everybody was literally talking about it. Go ahead.
He's on a roll right now. I mean, he definitely is. But, you know, it's like I said before yesterday. You look at what you're judged by. You know, I mean, if you're going to count all his wins, go ahead and count his Legends wins, his Quarter Midget wins, his Bandolero wins, his bicycle races wins. I mean, if you're going to count everything he's ever raced, go ahead and count them. I mean, that's just,